evening, Facebook Live. Let's try this again. That was the purpose of me doing the test run, but it's all good. I think I got it figured out. Clearly, the question sets for me well tonight as well. Ain't you got no learning? Ain't you got no learning whenever we're going to a new upgrade and a new change? So it's all good. It's all good. That just gave more people time to get on here. That's just making it even, gonna make it even more better. So good evening there, Prophetess Tanisha. So hopefully everybody is able to get in here and see what's going on. Again, just gotta get some adjustments made here. Good evening there, Miss Crystal. Give me just a minute and we're gonna have everything where it needs to be. Pray that I'm coming in clear and all of that. And if your screen looks like it's a little bit off, I think that's more so me than anything else. So y'all work with me tonight on this, and then I'm gonna have another good putting together. Good evening there, sis. So hopefully y'all can hear me clearly. Good evening there, Overseer Melissa. If y'all can hear me clearly, then let me know that, because I'm more concerned about y'all hearing me than I am with you seeing me. Hopefully it is at least decent enough picture to everything is not blurry or anything of that nature, but again, I'm trying to get my speeds right and had to upgrade the Windows 11 on the computer and all of this different stuff, so we're gonna get it right. All right, so we good enough to do some damage. That's all I'm after, because we definitely gonna stir up something tonight, because we in this time of the Feast of Tabernacles, and again having to deal with unstable times and things of that nature. But again, we're gonna be all right. So if I'm good on y'all screen, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna just go on in and get into ain't you got no learning. because earlier this week, if there's ever been a time that God has shown himself strong and made some things clear to me, he did it this week. He made it happen in such a way this week that it definitely took me to a different place, definitely took me to a different level. Because all of the feast times, he consistently, wants to meet us. He wants us to be blessed by his presence. He wants all of those things. So if you this week had some unstable moments and had some things where you were really questioning what was going on in your mind, is this really happening? Did I see what I just saw? Did I hear what I just heard? Am I feeling what I just felt? If you've had any of those this week, I just need to know that I'm talking to the right group tonight. Because again, when I had my instance, and it was Sunday going into Monday, establishing those things and getting me to the place. I got some extra rest, but I needed to have some mental clarity about some stuff. And that's just my rest. You know, it was also the week that, September 29th was when mom passed away 2 years ago. September 30th was when my last uncle on my dad's side. So when I started to have the shift of mind, the shift of things, I needed to see what it really was. Because again, I haven't had my regular rest like I would normally have over the past few weeks, but it's all good because whenever God is doing what he's doing in my life, I understand how to manage those things. I am an apostle of time. That's what he put me in the earth to be. So I have to know how to manage different paces, different things, all of that. So with that, again, I had to get me some mental clarity, some things between me and him. Because and that's what you all need to do sometimes. Lord, is this really what you working with me right now? Is this what you want me to look at right now? Is this how you want me to manage things right now? You got to have that time with him, and we're gonna have a good time tonight because when he spoke to me, what he spoke to me around about Monday, when he said to me, teach them how to learn. Woo! Teach them how to learn. Y'all gonna hear that statement a lot. Tonight, you're gonna hear it a bunch Saturday. You might hear it a bunch more. Matter of fact, go on and type it in. Teach them how to learn. Because by the time that I get done with this, everybody gonna have to deal with some toes stepped on, some neck brace, some a few upside the heads. You're gonna have to hear some stuff, cause I got mine from Monday to now, and the thing, once I realize now, what God has been walking me through over pretty much the past 7 to 8 months. It's crystal clear now. I mean, crystal clear. And as we go into tonight, I promise if you'll open your heart, open your mind, open your spirit, be ready, it's going to resonate. It's going to set in some things that's going to make a huge difference for you. So the question tonight is, ain't you got no learning? And he had me to put that as the question tonight because it's more of an indictment against the individual that has the information than it is against the one who the individual is teaching to. Because to teach them how to learn is more of an indictment of not just giving them the results, but making sure you're giving them the pathway to the results. Lions, teach them. Teach them. See, because if you don't teach them the pathway to the results, then you're not teaching them how to learn. You're teaching them how to put their hand out. You're teaching them. Let me just go on and get into these scriptures, so we can stir this thing up because I know it's some rain close by, and during the Feast of Tabernacles, Zechariah 14 is where it talks about there being rain for the Feast of Tabernacles, and those that do not honor the Feast of Tabernacles, then there's no rain. And I think we got some rain in the area. I know it's some in Tennessee, at least in certain areas, should be coming through here, should be getting than everybody else. So I hope everybody in the different areas, I hope you've gotten some rain, because I know that God is still honoring his feast days. He's still moving mightily. He let me know that the plowman was going to overtake the reaper, and yeah. So it's just all kinds of stuff that I know he's working right now, and I want to make sure that you all are getting the benefits of it. I see some of you saying it's raining, so there we go. That's what we're talking about. That's what is letting me know that God is still hearing us. He's still honoring us. He's still moving on the behalf. There are some in Michigan. Y'all type where you at. Those of you that's got rain, type in where you're at, because we doing something a little different tonight. Because ain't you got no learning? I promise we finna light this thing up, because the first scripture that we want to start out with tonight is Matthew chapter 7 and verse 6. Because in Matthew chapter 7 and verse 6 is where it says, "Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you." All right. And the reason I need y'all to go ahead and buckle up. Go ahead and put some stuff on. Go ahead and get yourself ready, because these things that I want you to get and I want you to understand is this right here. When he says, "Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you." Here's what I need you to get, because this right here is crucial. This right here is why this is so important. The first point that I want you to get tonight is the swine that are around you are there because you keep feeding them instead of teaching them to learn. I love you. I love you. But this is what you got to understand. If you feel like that there's somebody still constantly pulling on you, they feel you feel like they're dragging you down. You feel like they're winding you down. They're wearing you down. You put something in front of them, it seems like that they don't appreciate you. They're not fully engaged with you, or whatever. You keep giving them results without teaching them to learn. And the reason that I want you to get this is because, again, swine that are around you are there because you keep feeding them instead of teaching them to learn. Now, why is this so important? This is so important because, watch this. In Matthew 7 and 6, when it says, "Give not that which is holy." So what that's saying is, you've got some things in your life that are set aside. And see, the thing that you got to understand is, what you have set aside for you to function by is holy. There are things of your life that you're holy. That's why when you're in a relationship, like I am, and my significant other is, it's a holy thing. When it's holy of the relationship that all of us have that are online here. God Himself, He put us all together. He connected all of us in such a way that it benefits us each time we come together. Those that'll come and look at it later, they're coming to look at it later because there's something that benefits them. But it doesn't wear me down. It doesn't wear me out. And it's not that anybody or anything in particular has wore me down or wore me out over the past few months. What I'm wanting you to understand is when God sets up something holy, He says, I've got it specifically designed to work a specific way. And if you keep putting that in front of people that don't know how it works, watch what I'm saying right here, that don't know how it works, and you're not teaching them how it works, then don't be upset when they keep pulling on you, because that's you casting your pearls before swine. That's you taking what's holy and set aside and putting it in front of the dogs, putting it in front of the ones who are not appreciating who you are, who are not appreciating your time, who are not appreciating your efforts, who are not appreciating the things that you do. Now, again, all I'm doing is giving y'all information. This ain't nothing that per se was going on with me. What I'm trying to get you to see right now is that during the Feast of Tabernacles is when He allows the instabilities to come into our lives and allows them, watch this, to teach us something to learn about ourselves. If this is making sense to you, just type in "make sense." Because what I'm trying to do is make it make sense. Because until you understand how to learn from what you encounter, you ain't got no learning yet. and that's why I want to make sure that everybody's getting their learning. I got to make sure that everybody around me is getting their learning, because we're all making shifts, all of us, everybody. Everybody that's connected around me right now is making some kind of shift. Everybody. I mean nobody left out. Not anybody that I mentor, not anybody that I'm in relationship with, that my family. Everybody is in some type of transition. So this is what I got to get you to understand. If you ain't getting no learning about you during your transition, then who are you going to be by the time that you get where you're going? Who are you going to be by the time that you get to where you're going? Who are you going to be by the time you reach and attain what it is that you're after? Who are you going to be by the time that you get to the position that you're working for? Who are you going to be by the time that you get to the mindset that you've been working towards? You got to learn you. Ain't you got no learning about you? Ain't you got no learning about the things that are around you? This is why this is so crucial. And like I said, I ain't picking on nobody. I ain't pointing nothing out about nobody. So, but if it feels like I'm picking on you, then take that up with the Holy Spirit. Take that up with the Holy Ghost. Because This is what I want you to get. To get to our second point, I want to go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verses 5 through 10. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verses 5 through 10 says this. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5 through 10 says, "Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that you should do so in the land whither you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is, your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? Only take heed to thyself, and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons, especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb, when the Lord said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children." Ain't you got no learning? So notice what happens here. In verse 9 and 10, when he says, only take heed to thyself. And see, that's what you got to start doing. You got to start making sure that you're taking heed to yourself. You got to start making sure that you are paying attention to learning about yourself in these diverse situations. Because all of the diverse situations that God himself set up for you to encounter over this past week, over this past month, over this past 6 months, over this past year, all of those things, he's saying, I need for you to learn to fear me. I need for you to learn about you. I need for you to learn about those around you in all of these circumstances, so that you can be who I put you in the earth to be. So I put you in that family that seemingly has its level of dysfunctions. I put you in that family because I need for you to teach them how to learn. I need for you to teach them how to learn. I don't need you to do it for them. I need for you to teach them how to learn. How can I say that? How can I prove that? Verse 9 and 10, when he says, only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently. Your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions. He said, I need for you to diligently take care of that. He's saying, because, watch this, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen. He's saying, you done already seen how I work. Teach them how to learn of me. You done already seen how I can turn stuff around. Teach them how to learn of me. Ain't you got no learning? See, because I'm going to drop a bomb at the very end of this. I'm going to give you the second point here in just a second. But what I need for you to get out of this is because he goes on and he says, unless they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons, especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb. Watch this. Watch this, because this right here is it. He says, before the Lord thy God in Horeb, when the Lord said unto me, gather me the people together. So he's following the instructions. He's saying, the Lord told me to gather y'all together. Just like y'all doing on here, just like y'all do on Saturdays, just like y'all have done when we've been meeting in a building. He's saying, gather everybody together. And he says, when you get them there, I need for you to teach them, watch this, how to hear me. Teach them how to learn. See, because, watch this. Because it's right here is the key. He says, I will make them hear my words that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. Oh, I'm finna go somewhere right here. So let me go ahead and give y'all the second point. The second point that I need you to see is quit just teaching them information and teach them to learn. Quit just teaching them information and teach them to learn. See, oh my gosh, y'all got to understand how God has been drilling this in me all week. All week. And how he's just been showing me so many different things in so many different ways about so many different things that I already knew the things. And that's the whole point. That's why I've been having to revamp my thought process. This is about things that I already knew. He's saying that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach them to their children. So he's saying if you just keep giving them information, if you just keep giving them the outcome, if you just keep, watch this, just trying to drill the finished information into their head and never teach them to learn how to get to the finished information, you're not helping them. You're not helping them. As a matter of fact, you're hurting them because you're teaching them to rely on you and what you say. And see, truth be told, that's why some of you tired and wore out. Because you've just been teaching them the outcome, not how to learn how to get to the outcome. Oh, we gonna drive this home tonight. We got to get this started. See, this is why your peace was so important, because you had to start from a place of peace. In order to do this effectively, you have to start from a place of peace. You will not be able to teach them how to learn if you're frustrated. You're not. It ain't gonna work. It's not gonna happen. Y'all got I need for y'all to get this. You will not be able to teach someone to learn from a place of frustration. It's not going to work. It will not work. Here's why I got to get you to understand this. So our third point, I need you to go to 1 Samuel chapter 3, verses 13 and 14. Because when I pose this information to you that I'm about to pose to you, because this is where the Lord got me this week. You know, like I said, he dropped it on me Monday. I had to get my brain straight, make sure, no, it ain't this, no, it ain't this, no, it ain't this, no, it ain't this, no, it ain't that, no, it ain't that. And then when he finally said, he said, you got to teach them how to learn. I was like, Lord Jesus, that is so simple. However, it is so complicated because of its simplicity, because of the simplicity. And I want to show you this example with 1 Samuel, because in 1 Samuel chapter 3, verses 13 and 14 is where it says this. Now this is the Lord talking to Samuel. We're going to look at the previous verses later, but I needed to show you this first because, again, I got to teach you how to learn, because ain't you got no learning? Ain't you got no learning yet? Here's why. Look at this. 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 13 and 14 says, for I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity, watch this, which he knoweth. So the word iniquity means bent thinking, thinking that is not in complete proper alignment. He says, I'm coming after what you know is not in proper alignment, because this is the key. He goes on and he says, I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because, watch this, his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not. See, that's why things that are not being handled properly and you're not saying anything about them, he's coming for you about that. That's why that's so important. So in verse 14, he then says, and therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever. So what he's saying is, all right, you ain't gonna be able to pay or pray your way out of this one. You are going to have to initiate some learning. Ain't you got no learning? You're going to have to initiate some learning by expressing what I tell you to express, how I tell you to express it, so they can learn to fear me. See, but if you don't tell them about me, and you don't tell them what I say about these things, then they didn't know it, but they gonna make themselves vile, all because you didn't help them. You didn't teach them to learn. You just kept saying, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do that. And if you don't teach them why not to do that, then don't be surprised when they keep doing it. So this is what I want you to understand about this third point. See, this third point is, if those around you never learn, what does that say about you teaching them? Teach them to learn. If those around you never learn, what does that say about how you're teaching them to learn? I know. I know. I know some of y'all is like, good Lord Almighty. What can he talk about something else now? Because I ain't finna get now another whooping. not another one. Here's why. Because what God began to show me was, he said, if they're not learning, but I keep bringing them around you and I keep allowing them to come around you, he said, I'm really working on your teaching more than I am their learning. Because the goal is for you to teach them about how to hear me. And then as they learn how to hear me, then I can begin to give them the words directly instead of having to talk through you all the time. But until you learn how to teach them how to learn, everybody gonna keep getting frustrated. Until you learn how to teach them to learn, everybody gonna keep getting frustrated. Is this making sense to everybody? Cause I need to make sure. I'm showing a count of 12 on here. It might not be 12 on here, but I need to make sure that at least these 12 disciples that are on here tonight are getting what I'm saying. If it's making sense, show me something that it's making sense. Because I got to make sure that I am teaching you how to teach them how to learn. Whoever them is. Them might be on your job. Them might be in your house. Them might be in your family. You got to understand what, I beg that y'all hear my heart in this. I pray that you're hearing my heart. Because what I'm trying to make sure of is that the covenant of Abraham, I'm trying to make sure that the covenant of Abraham gets manifested the way that it's supposed to manifest. He said, I'm going to bless you so that you can be a blessing until all families of the earth are blessed. So if those that are listening to me are not teaching them how to learn, that's an indictment against me. I got to make sure that I'm not just giving you information and just getting you to the end result to where you never develop into becoming who you need to be so that you can teach them how to learn to hear him and fear him, so that everybody is now beginning to step into the blessing. That's my goal. Every time I open my mouth, every time I teach, every time I do anything, my goal is to help manifest that covenant of all families of the earth being blessed. So sometimes, no, I'm not going to just give you the solution. Sometimes, no, I'm not just going to give you the outcome. Sometimes I have to teach you how to learn. Teach you how to deal with the elements of an environment that are around you, and you learn how to function in that environment and become successful in that environment, so that you no longer are hindered by thinking that you can't go to another environment and still be successful. Because you are in a place, yes, you, every one of you that I'm talking to right here, right now, you are in a place that you can have success. You just got to know how to teach them how to learn. Here's why I can say that as we go to this fourth point. So for the fourth point, I need you to go to Matthew chapter 11, verses 27 through 30. Matthew chapter 11, verse 27 through 30, says this. This is why this is so crucial. Because in Matthew chapter 11, verse 27 through 30, it says this. It says, all things are delivered unto me. So what Jesus is saying right here is he's saying anything that functions in the earth is now under his jurisdiction, and you have to go through him to properly function with it. That's what he's saying. So then when he says, all things are delivered unto me of my Father, so he's saying he got that authority from the Most High God himself. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. What he's doing, watch this, because this is the key. He says, all things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man knoweth the Son but the Father, neither knoweth any man the Father save the Son. So what he's saying is, I have intertwined this. I've made it connect in such a way that it can't be separated. He says, so what I need for you to get is this. He says, neither knoweth any man the Father save the Son, and he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him. Come unto me, this is Jesus in red, all ye that labor and are heavy laden. How many? That's all of us, all of you, all of us, everybody. You've labored about something. So watch this. He says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. That's why I told you, this that I'm telling you, you cannot teach them to learn from chaos by you having a chaos. You can teach them to learn in chaos because that's where some of the best lessons are taught. But you can't have the chaos in you. That's why he's saying, come unto me and I'll give you rest. So watch what happens here. He then says in verse 29, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Ain't you got no learning? He's saying, learn of me. He said, don't learn of the things of all the things that are delivered to me. Learn of me. And then all of the things will be delivered unto you. Look at what he says. He says, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest. But look at where this rest is, because this is why this is so important. And you shall find rest unto your souls. He's saying your mind, your will, and your emotions is what I work with when you learn of me. He said that's the key. That's why I told y'all going to have to learn the word. You're going to have to be reading the word. You're going to need to be consistent in your word, because it's there that you learn of him. And then when you learn of him, now, when I ask the question, ain't you got no learning? You can say, yep, I sure do. That's why I'm at peace. Yep, I sure do. That's why I ain't worried about this. Yep, I sure do. That's why I ain't no anxiety about this. Yep, I sure do. That's why I ain't worried about them running no emergency broadcasts and tests. Yep, that's why I ain't worried about whatever, them shutting down the government or anything else, them kicking the Speaker of the House out. I don't care what you do, because I done learned of him. Y'all type it in for me. I have learned of him. Even if you feel like you ain't fully got it yet, type it in there anyway. I have learned of him. I have learned of him. Capitalize H. Make it a capital H. I have learned of him. Capital H, him. You can put it in all caps. But this is the thing I need you to get. He says, take my yoke upon you, learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. What he's trying to show you when you've learned of him is this right here. He says, when you've learned of him, because notice what he has you do. He says, yoke up with me, connect with me, and learn of me. He says, and then that's when you're going to find the rest. So you can't find the rest until you're yoked with him. Not yoked with a person. Yoked with a person is cool. I ain't telling you nothing out of the ordinary here. But what I'm trying to show you is you being yoked with him is going to make it easy when you deal with them. You being yoked with him is what's going to make it easy when you got to deal with them. That's why you got to know how to teach them to learn. Well, in order to know how to teach them to learn, you being yoked up with him is where you're going to get the information to know how to teach them to learn. But when you haven't been yoked up with him, you're not having rest in your souls. You're not having rest in your mind, your will, and your emotions. And when you don't have rest in your mind, your will, and your emotions, then you're not going to be able to teach them how to learn. As a matter of fact, you won't even want to teach them how to learn. How to learn. What you'll want to do is you want to get them out of your hair. Mm-hmm. You want to be able to tell them to go on somewhere. So you just give them a result. So guess what they do? Next time that they need a different result, they come back to you again. They keep coming after your oil. They keep coming after your peace. They keep coming after your blessing. And he's like, hold up. You gotta know how to teach them how to learn. Look at what he says. He says, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. He said, when you yoke up with me and learn of me, I'm going to level everything out. But you got to learn of me, watch this, so that you can teach them how to learn. So my fourth point is simply teach them to learn. Don't just give them the results of an outcome. Teach them to learn. You say, but I ain't got time for that. Yeah, you got time. You just got to choose to do it. Here's why you got to understand this as we get ready for the fifth and last point. Now let's go back to 1 Samuel chapter 3, verses 9 through 12. Because this is what's going to springboard us into Saturday. And my gosh, Saturday, I don't know. I hereby formally forewarn that Saturday I'm not gonna do right. I'm probably not gonna do right. So I'm letting everybody know ahead of time. and y'all probably think I ain't doing right tonight, and I'm probably not, because I'm feeling this one. This right here, this information. I love to see people grow. I love to see people's lives better. I love to see people's lives blessed. So, in 1 Samuel 3, verses 9 through 12 says this. Y'all give me just a couple extra minutes since I had to gain some learning about this new setup and different camera speeds and all of that stuff. So watch this. 1 Samuel chapter 3, verses 9 through 12 says this. It says, therefore Eli said unto Samuel, go, lie down, and it shall be, if he call thee, that thou shalt say, speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. So let me give you a quick backdrop before I read the rest of these verses. Samuel has been brought to Eli, a priest, so that he could learn the priesthood, so that he could learn and establish who he needed to be, learn how to prophesy, learn how to hear the Lord. He had to go, and he literally spent his life, his early years of his childhood with Eli. This is what his mother, Hannah, it's what she promised the Lord, that she would lend him to the Lord, all of this. So she's brought him there. He's there to learn how to hear God. So watch this. So that's why when he's saying this, what has happened is the Lord has begun to speak to Samuel. He's not speaking to Eli. He's speaking to Samuel. So clearly, Samuel had gotten to a place to where he was ready to hear from the Lord. So verse 10 says, and the Lord came and stood and called as at other times. That's why I wanted to tell you about that first, because he had already been calling him. And what was happening was, when he called Samuel before, Samuel thought it was Eli talking to him. Eli's like, no, I ain't call you. So watch this. There's a lot that I can teach on this, all of this. God's voice will sound like people's voice when you're going through your development. I ain't got time to teach you that, but this is why I need you to get this. The Lord came and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, speak, for thy servant heareth. So he says exactly what Eli tells him to say. Woo! Watch this. Because remember, this year's series is about searching for kingdom consistency. I'm trying to get y'all away from these ignorant victories. You win, but you don't know how. Things work out well, but you don't know how. So you can't repeat it. You can't make it happen again. I'm trying to get you out. I am teaching you how to learn. So watch this. So look at what he says. He says, speak, for thy servant heareth. And the Lord said to Samuel, behold, I will do a thing in Israel. Now notice what he says right there. He doesn't say, I'll do a new thing. He just says he'll do a thing. That's important. He says, I will do a thing in Israel at which both the ears of everyone that heareth it shall tingle. He said, it's going to resonate with you when you hear what I'm fixing to do. So he says, in that day, I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I begin, watch this, I will also make an end. See, so some of you that's been crying over how some stuff turned out of your life, I speak from the mouth of the Most High God. For some of you who have thought that it was the enemy that ended what you thought ended, that was not the enemy. That was the Most High God. He had an expected end that he meant for that to turn out by. This is why I need for you to understand this right here. Because he goes on, and that's when he follows up and with what was said in verse 13 and 14. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not. And therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever. So what he's trying to show right here, and what I need for you to hear right here, is the key is right there in verse 13 before I go back to 12. When he says he restrained them not, it doesn't mean he kept them from doing it. You're not going to be able to keep a grown child from doing nothing. You're not even really going to be able to keep a young child from doing anything. You're just going to have to either render them consequences or make sure that they crystal clear know how to learn to fear the Lord, and let them know, okay, son, okay, daughter, I have taught you according to the word of God. You are now in his hands for your outcomes from this day forward. And if they truly got that fear in them, that's going to scare them. That's going to cause them to get some big eyes. That's going to cause them to be like, oh, hold up, wait a minute. and then they're going to be begging you to, I ain't got to say nothing else. I gave you everything that I was supposed to give you. I taught you how to learn. I taught you to fear the Lord. I taught you how to hear the Lord. See, that's what's done happened. Some of y'all haven't explained to your children what's really going on when they have those chill bumps come over them after something specific is said a specific way, and you haven't taught them how to tune in to why that resonated so much. You haven't taught them to tune in to how they felt that queasy feeling in their stomach whenever they went to go do that wrong thing. Right before they did that wrong thing, they felt that queasy thing. They felt that question come up in them. You haven't taught them how to hear his voice. You haven't taught them that of how he speaks through an environment sometimes. So you're not teaching them to learn. Teaching them to learn how to hear from him. Teaching them to learn all of the things that you live by. You live by it. You know it. That's what he's addressing Eli about right here. He's saying, you didn't restrain them. You didn't bring back to their remembrance. Hey, you remember what I told you about when you're feeling that and when you're sensing that and what you're not supposed to be doing with this? You remember I told you that, right? Now, I ain't going to fight with you. I ain't going to keep pressing the issue. I'm going to let you get these consequences from the Most High, because you won't be able to say that I didn't teach you how to learn. You won't be able to say that I didn't teach you how to learn to fear him. You won't be able to say that I didn't teach you how to learn how to hear him. You won't be able to say that because I have taken the time to show you that. So this fifth point is this right here. You ain't got what you got good enough until you can teach someone else to learn it. You ain't got what you got good enough until you can teach someone else to learn it. That's why I wanted you to see in verse 9 says, therefore Eli said to Samuel, Go lie down, and it shall be, if he call thee, that thou shalt say, Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. He taught him what to say once he heard what he heard again. He didn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna go with you, and we're gonna listen, and we're gonna touch and agreeing about this." No, he's saying, "Go lay down again, and when you hear it next time, if he speaks again, when you hear that, say this." See, this is why the confessions that I've given and still give to people, those are not my words. Those were words that were given to me to give to you all to teach you how to learn. I still say the elevated confessions. I still say those to this day, every day myself. So it wasn't something that I just have I got it and I don't do it no more. No. I still say those confessions. Again, I have levels. So with people that I mentor, I give them the first level first, where they write their name and they fill a name in there, and they're saying that daily. And then after they say that one, and they go through the time frame that I give them to go through for that, then I give them the elevated ones that I'm still using to this day myself. I'm saying that to you because you ain't got what you got good enough until you can teach someone else to learn it. So those aren't just some words on a piece of paper. Those are actually you saying back to the Most High God what he's already said in his word about you. So I know that when I hand those over to people, I am teaching them how to learn. So again, point number one, the swine that are around you are there because you keep feeding them instead of teaching them to learn. Point number two, quit just teaching them information and teach them to learn. Point number three, if those around you never learn, what does that say about you? Point number four, teach them to learn. Point number five, you ain't got what you got good enough until you can teach someone else to learn it. So whether you're a parent, whether you are a leader on your job, whether you are a leader of a church, whether you are a leader of a community, doesn't matter where at. Leader of a relationship. And if you're in a relationship, both of you are leaders. There are times to switch the lead. But if you can't teach them, if you ain't got what you got good enough to teach them how to learn what you got, you ain't got it good enough. You ain't got it good enough. You ain't got it good enough until you can teach them how to learn what you got. Y'all tune in with us on Saturday morning, Exclusive Ecclesia, about 10:30. If you have not become a part of Exclusive Ecclesia, it's a very simple process. If you know somebody who is on this page right here, right now, whether it's me, whether it's whoever, you can send them an inbox and say, hey, add me to Exclusive. If you don't want to say it to them, you can inbox me and you can say, hey, add me to Exclusive, so that you can tune in and you can get it fresh, not get it afterwards. Because as you can see, just like tonight, this is not a word that you want to be waiting on. This is a word that you want to be getting and implementing ASAP, because you ain't got what you got good enough until you can teach someone else how to learn it. And once you know it, once you're able to do that, the game changes for you. Everything shifts for you, watch this, as well as it does for them. And y'all will be able to have a better connection, all because you know how to teach them how to learn. I love you guys. Thank you all for sticking with me tonight while I had to learn how the new connection is working. So I appreciate y'all sticking with me. I love you all dearly. I appreciate everything that you all do, all of the seed that you sow, but most of all, learning what I teach you. That right there is what really and truly blesses me, because that lets me know that I got what I got good enough for you to learn it, so that I can teach it in such a way for you to learn it. And when I'm able to do that, that blesses me, because I know that is establishing the Abrahamic covenant. I'm going to bless you so that you can be a blessing until all families of the earth be blessed. Because watch this, because once I teach you how to be blessed and I teach you how to learn, I have no doubt that you're going to use it and go teach somebody else how to learn. And it's going to just keep growing. So again, I love you guys. I appreciate everything about you. Y'all have a blessed rest of the evening. Teach somebody how to learn. Peace.